Hey everyone, this is Alp Actinis here, Managing Director of Architecture and Platforms here at FP Automation. Welcome back to our series on FP&A planning within Fabric powered by Acterys. In this series and this video, we will be talking all about OPEX planning. Before getting into OPEX planning, I want to recap on our previous video, which was focused on workforce planning. We talked about how organizations can, within real time, reduce planning in order to be able to understand positions required for the business and immediately see the financial impact, influencing, of course, cash flow and working capital that can be used across the organization. In this particular video, we're going to be focusing on another part of the profit and loss statement, specifically around operating expense planning. Within operating expense planning, we ultimately try to give clients the ability to either plan at a vendor level if that is information they are looking to capture, or plan at an account level with the ability to leverage last year's data as a starting point for this year's plan or forecast, allowing them to have seasonality of expenses taken into account. What this essentially means is that your team will have the ability to leverage existing data from a prior year as a starting point for the current year, based on how operating expenses plan to change. Here we can see that we have another Acterys matrix visual leveraged in a slightly different way. We're showing now by entity as well as by account how we can plan what our expenses look like. So as an example, if we have certain expenses we know, like IT and consulting expenses, which we expect to stay relatively the same, we have the ability to be able to straight line them. So let's say, for example, I'm assuming that we're going to have a $4,000 cost for the remaining months of this year based on our forecast plan, which is from July to December. We can also see actuals are here from the prior months so that we have real-time actuals as to what that looks like. Maybe here, for example, I actually want to increase this to 8,000 based on how the expenses are trending from our actuals perspective. When I save these values, I can immediately see my results come in real time, influencing my particular variances across the board between actuals versus our current forecast variance, as well as for future ones that I would like to eventually see from a scenario perspective. In addition to that, we can also leave commentary at a cell level. We have the ability to be able to add comments and also be able to have various different comments between various different users that we can save here. So I can put down that we are straight lining, we are adding 8,000 a month to expenses based on actuals. Save the comment, and this comment now ultimately will be available for users to be able to see. And you can see immediately that my comment's available, and we can see who's making that comment on here. In addition to that, we can also add additional comments. So these comments are essentially tracked from a time period level, allowing you to have a chat history between multiple individuals and edit existing comments from that particular time period. Another great function that might be extremely useful is the growth function right here, or the G function. This allows you to be able to increase expenses, say by 1%, and grow them incrementally per month in this case. So you can see that my expenses are incrementally growing by 1% each month, showcasing that we have a slight increase based on what we're seeing trend-wise over time. And then allowing us to save our results and then showcase those within from a chart perspective as well as from an analysis perspective at the bottom here. We not only have the ability to be able to plan all from one location, allowing us to consolidate results, but we can also track version history. Your team now has the ability to look back at various different results, who made them, and at what time they made them. So in this case right here, I can see all of the various different IT consulting expenses results and exactly which ones have been made and by whom these changes have been made by. In this case, I can see that Ian was the last person who made this change, and here's when the change was valid from and valid to. This allows you to look back at previous values to see what exactly was entered in case you want to do a comparison between your previous value entered versus the current value that is in place. Your operating expenses are extremely integral to the business, and having visibility at the correct level allows you to see exactly where expenses are coming from and allowing you to further scrutinize those expenses compared to your actuals to see why are these expenses needed and are these expenses needed by the organization. We have a ton of organizations we have worked with in the past who have gotten now the ability to visibly see where their expenses are coming from an organization and department perspective, and finding the anomalies within those expenses, allowing them to be able to cut unnecessary expenses not needed by the business, which were in fact just not visible due to the data not being available to be able to analyze. So think about how influential this can be for your business. If you have a multi-million-dollar set of operating expenses that you do not have visibility into, Fabric with Acterys gives you the unified data analytics within one platform, allowing you to analyze where exactly there are expenses that may potentially need to be looked into by your team and questioned to see, are they really relative expenses that are needed for this year? So I hope you enjoyed this series, again, showcasing commentary as well as the ability to see various different variance analyses and the ability to be able to flex between different views, such as a by account view and by entity view, as well as to see version history. In our next piece of information, we're going to be covering all about travel and entertainment expenses and showing you various different ways that T&E can be planned within the Fabric Powered by Acterys model here. Thank you, and this is Alp signing out.